1 + 1 = 1. This is chapter 2. I and I, a meeting of mirrors. In the hush between brazen thought, where language dissolves into silence, there lives a truth older than time, a whisper, not heard but remembered. I and I, not I and you, not subject and object, not self and other, but self as other. A philosophy born from the mystic root, where ego is humble and the soul is whole. It is a rhythm heard in reggae chants, a sacred chord from the tongues of prophets, yet it echoes across traditions in the stillness of the monk, the gaze of the sage, the heartbeat of the lover who sees no separation. I and I speaks not in duality, but in the oneness that underlies all things. It is a dissolution of division, where the divine in me recognizes the divine in you, where I am not apart from you, but a part with you, and we are both expressions of something vaster. This is no doctrine to memorize, no creed to recite. It is a way of seeing, a way of being, radical unity in a world obsessed with fragments. So, to enter this philosophy is to unlearn, to step beyond the mirror and meet yourself in the eyes of another. To say not I am, nor you are, but only I and I. Here, now, one. The roots of I and I, where, when and how it began. The phrase I and I took shape in the fertile soil of Jamaica, rising from the struggles and spiritual revelations of a people in search of identity, dignity, and divine connection. Its birthplace was not a university lecture hall, but the streets of Kingston, the hills of the countryside, and the chants of Rastafari elders under the hot Caribbean sun. It emerged in the early 20th century as a response to colonialism, slavery's legacy, and the dislocation of African identity. In this wounded yet rising world, the Rastafari movement was born. A spiritual uprising rooted in the Bible, fed by Ethiopian mysticism, watered by the hope of a repatriation and redemption. It was from this sacred fire that I and I was spoken into being. But at first glance, it may seem like mere dialect. But to those who know, it is a revolution of consciousness. Rastafari refused to say you and me as separate. Instead, I and I meant the oneness of all beings, united by the spark of the divine I within. It meant the self is never alone, and God, called Jah, is always present in each person. It is not I and you, but I as you, and you as me under one creator. The spread, a song becomes a seed. How did it travel? On the wings of music, of course. On the beat of the drum, on the voice of the prophet in the form of the singer. When Robert Nesta Marley and the Wailers sang, I and I survive, they carried not just a melody, but a message across oceans and into the hearts of the oppressed, the seekers, the misfits, and the mystics of the world. Through reggae music, the I and I philosophy transcended its Jamaican roots. It moved from the Nyabingi gatherings to international stages, from ganja-scented reasoning sessions to university seminars and spiritual retreats. It became a whisper in hip-hop, a reflection in Pan-African thought, a meditation in spiritual communities searching for a new way of being. The influence, I and I in our lives. Today, I and I lives wherever the illusion of separation is challenged. It echoes in the voices calling for justice, in the movements seeking wholeness over hierarchy, in the eyes of those who say, you are not other you are another me. ሌላኛ ነኝ እንጂ ሌላስ አይደለህም. It questions the systems that divide us by race, class, nation or creed. It is a balm for a fractured world, a reminder that the sacred is not far off, but within us all, equally, intimately, eternally. I and I shifts the very way we speak and think. It transforms relationships between self and other, human and nature, individual and divine. It invites us to live not in competition but in communion. It tells us, you are not just a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop, and so am I. .1 I and I versus synergy, a comparison and contrast. Both I and I and synergy speak to the power of unity, but they emerge from very different worlds. Spiritual versus functional, being versus doing, inner unity versus external collaboration. Number 1, origin and context. I and I come from Rastafari philosophy. We are rooted in spiritual awareness, where the self, others, and the divine are seen as one. We resist separation, not just socially, but ontologically. It's about who we are beneath the illusion of division. Synergy is a term born in the world of science, systems thinking, and business strategy. It describes a condition where the combined outcome of two or more elements exceeds the sum of their parts. It's practical, results-oriented, and often used to describe how groups, teams, or technologies work better together. In short, I is about the unity of essence. Synergy is about the power of collaboration. Ontology. What does each say about self and other? I collapse the boundary between self and other. There is no you in opposition to me. Instead, there is a shared I, a mutual indwelling of the divine presence. We are non-dualistic. Synergy requires the presence of distinct entities, multiple parts that, while separate, interact constructively. Synergy celebrates difference and interdependence, but doesn't erase individuality. I and I say we are one. Synergy says together we are greater. 3. Functionality versus spirituality. Synergy is usually goal-driven. It's about producing better outcomes in teams, partnerships, ecosystems, or ideas. Think of brainstorming sessions, co-leadership, or jazz improvisation. Synergy is about optimized performance. I and I am not outcome-focused. We are about presence, being, and awareness. We don't measure success but realize sacred unity, whether or not there is a tangible result. Synergy aims to achieve. I and I aim to awaken. 4. Relational dynamics. In synergy, cooperation is key. Individuals or systems retain boundaries, but actively seek harmony and complementarity. The success of synergy depends on difference functioning well together. In I and I, relationship is a mirror. The other is not just with you, but in you. The distinction between self and other dissolves into oneness with the divine. Synergy builds bridges across difference. I and I removes the river. 5. Applications in daily life. Synergy shows up in business teams, artistic collaboration, scientific research, ecology and ecosystems, education, leadership and innovation. I and I show up in spiritual consciousness, ethical interactions, cultural identity, especially in Afro-diasporic contexts, music, particularly reggae and Rastafari expression, non-dual philosophies and interfaith spirituality. bringing them together. Complement, not conflict. Though different in a sense, I and synergy are not enemies, they are allies. I provide the inner ground. A spiritual realization that reminds us of our shared humanity and divinity. Synergy builds the outer structures, ways to work together more powerfully, creatively, and compassionately. In a fragmented world, synergy helps us cooperate, but in a soul-starved world, I help us remember who we are. One sees unity as the path to better outcomes. The other sees unity as the ultimate reality. ኃይለ ሥላሴ